Hello, everybody. It's Miss Carter again. Today we are talking or starting our unit on pollution, and we're talking today about air pollution. With air pollution, and pretty much any of the pollutions that um, we're talking about when you put something into the environment around you that doesn't belong. Okay, something that should not be there, whether it's naturally put there by Earth and by the natural things that happen on Earth, or the it's done by humans or something else. Okay, any way you look at it, it's when something is there that's not supposed to be. Okay, kind of like a virus inside of um, our bodies try to fight it off, try to get rid of it, and if it doesn't, it can harm us. Well, the same thing happens with pollution and the earth. The earth tries to get rid of the pollution, and if it can't, things can die. Okay, and be lost. So, excuse me. So that's where we're going to be looking at with this unit. So, like I said, we start off with air pollution. So, we're talking about our atmosphere. As it says here, the atmosphere, which is a thin blanket of gases surrounding the Earth, plays a key role in Earth's weather and climate. All right. So, our atmosphere, its balance of chemicals, of gases, everything in it is there for a reason. Okay. And when we try to either add or take away from those, it is when we can cause a problem. Okay. So, rising and falling air currents and greenhouse gases play a major role in weather and climate. Greenhouse gases, main one we're going to focus on is carbon dioxide, but there are a few others: nitrogen, hydrogen, even oxygen, that are going to play a part in that. Um, Pollutants mix in the air to form industrial smog. Smog is when you take smoke and fog, so basically things that come from factories, things that come from cars, when they mix together, the smoke and the fog. So it's caused by motor vehicles, which cars, industrial facilities, factories, and power plants. Places like places we get our energy from, places like Ameren, places like Laclede, that produce our energy. They're needed, but they give off this pollution. Uh, let's see. There we go. Air pollution has both natural and human causes or sources. The natural sources would be things like the wind. The wind will kick up dust, kick up sand, a variety of different stuff that it puts into the air, and that's a form of pollution. But it's a natural form of pollution. It happens without us. Um, Pollutants from wildfires. If it's a wildfire that is caused normally, like by lightning and stuff like that, then it's natural. However, if it's a wildfire that is caused by humans, then it's not so natural. Um, and volcanoes, volcanic eruptions is another natural one. Um, Volatile organics released by plants. So even just your average everyday plants around the world, they can release chemicals into the air or gases into the air that can be basically a form of pollution as well. And then, of course, the human sources. And you can see all of these in here, both the natural and the human sources. Most of these are industrialized or in urban areas, in other words, city type areas. Stationary sources, things that stay put, okay, things like factories. Mobile sources, things that move, things like cars, humans, stuff like that. All right. Ways that we decrease or increase that outdoor air pollution. And we say outdoor air pollution because there's also indoor air pollution, but we're not going to really focus on that one as much in this lesson. We're going to mostly go with the outdoor because that's the bigger problem. The outdoor air pollution, it can be decreased by rain and snow, any kind of precipitation. What happens is the water droplets, the water vapor that's in the air, it's going to attach to the dust particles, to the chemicals that are in the air, and it'll bring it down. So when it falls down with the water, as rain or as snow, sleet, hail, whatever, when that falls down, it gets rid of the air pollution, but then it's going to increase the water pollution, which is the next unit. So it doesn't really get rid of it. It just kind of moves it to a new system. Winds also decrease it because it just basically the winds will push it away. Winds can also help as far as to break it apart a bit. If you kind of think of it as like diluting it. If you spray an air freshener in a room, eventually that air moves away so that the smell isn't as concentrated. Well, that's kind of what the wind does here is the wind's going to spread it apart and move the chemicals so they're not as highly concentrated. They're still there, but they're not going to cause as much damage. Okay. And then chemical reactions. When certain chemicals that are in the air from the pollution, when they combine, it can actually dissipate them or decrease them. And then how they increase. Hills and mountains, they will trap the air because in order for air to get over those hills or the mountains, it's got to raise. Well, the higher up you go, the colder it is. Well, cold air when it rises or air when it rises becomes colder, and cold air sinks. Okay. And so basically, if it can't make it up over those mountains, then it's going to stay put in that area. Okay, and so then it's going to keep getting bigger and bigger and not dissipate, not make it less. High temperatures also help to increase this, and what's called temperature inversions. And I have two pictures here of temperature inversions that kind of explain what it is. But basically, what happens is it's all about those mountains again. Is that air in places like Los Angeles. Which is kind of what you have happening here. The sea breeze or the ocean breeze comes in and it tries to push that pollution away. Like I said, to try and dissipate it. But it reaches those Rocky Mountains and it can't get up over the top of the mountains, so it stays right here. And so that basically just traps that in this little circle. It traps those gases in there, and so the pollution stays with the heat as well. Air pollution is a big killer. 3.2 million deaths worldwide. Most of them is in Asia, especially in China, mainly because China, even though it is a major country, doesn't have the same rules about how they use their natural resources that we do. And so because of that, they have more pollution. United States still produces its fair share, but like I said, China does have more just because we have more laws. The EPA proposed stricter emission standards for diesel-powered vehicles is just one example of how we're trying to control this with the laws to try and reduce the amount of pollution that goes into the air, because the diesel-powered vehicles, like big trucks, things like that, they put more of those harmful chemicals into the air. Like it says here, one truck equals the same amount of pollution as 150 cars. Okay. Now, granted, we need those trucks for certain things. Don't get me wrong with that. But there are ways to try and make them more efficient so that they don't put that much pollution into the air. Okay. And that's kind of what we're trying to do. So the three big ideas here for air pollution is, number one, outdoor air pollution in the forms of smog, acid rain, which we didn't go over a lot, but it's a big problem also, and indoor air pollution are serious global problems. Like I said, the smog is the only one we really covered of that, but they're all three big problems. Each year, at least 2.4 million people die prematurely from air pollution. Indoor air pollution, primarily in less developed countries, cause about 2/3 of those deaths. So that's a big deal too. And then we need to give top priority status to the prevention of outdoor and indoor air pollution throughout the world and the reduction of stratospheric ozone depletion. What that means, guys, is the laws need to be tougher. And like I said before, yes, the United States has the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, and yes, we have laws, but we've been getting kind of relaxed with those laws. And a lot of the laws that are trying to be passed around the world, we're not following through on as the United States. And so we need to make sure that we do, because eventually we're going to run out of resources, and eventually the pollution is going to get to the point where it's not going to be easily reversible. And so we need to be aware of that and be willing to fight for our Earth. So, all right. So for today, your assignments are to first watch this video. Then you've got your Ed Puzzle. Ed Puzzle, same as always. When you're answering your questions, make sure that you get a 60% or higher. If you don't, email either me or Miss Mills, and we'll reset it for you. And finally, you have your exit ticket, which is on air pollution, and it kind of deals with more than just air, but air is the main focus on this one. And how this works is you're going to start here, and it says the resource that may be placed by natural processes. So, is that renewable, a non renewable, fossil fuel, or a metal? Which one of those is a resource that may be replaced by natural processes? Now, if you don't know, then what you need to do is you need to Google the definition of each of these. Okay? One of them is going to fit this. All right? So I'm going to tell you this one. A resource that may be replaced by natural processes means it is renewable. Okay? It can be replaced. So what I do is I come on here and let me find my right one. There we go. Highlighter. And I'm going to highlight. That didn't work. Hold on. All right, that didn't work. Hold on. Let's try this again. Let's try this instead. There we go. Okay, so instead of using that first one, the highlighter, I know some of you are having issues with that anyway, just do the box highlighter. Okay, that seems to be working. So anyway, I highlight that right there. Then I go on to this next one because that's the next clue. And so then the answer for this is either going to be pollution, depletion, extinction, or evolution. And so then you know, whichever one of those it is, then you go on to that next clue. And so on until you get down here to finish. Okay? When you are all finished, you'll click on the Turn In button up here, turn it in and through Classroom, and you're done for the day. If you have any questions or you don't quite understand what you're doing, you get lost, get stuck on something, let me know or let Miss Mills know, and we will help you as soon as we're possible. If you have anything else, let me know, guys. Otherwise, have a good day.